This means now all of the power picks are up, and I have to see what they want to prioritize.
Mundo does get locked in. Might see that Olaf in the top lane. Something else, Shyvana still on the board right now. Elise, wow, this is not, they haven't locked it in, but everything so far has been quite speedy through this champion select. And I'm sure that SHC wants to get back in as being the team of momentum.
SK will be happy to get Mundo. They had Mundo in game 1. It didn't work out quite as effectively because they didn't make plays. Now, if they have a champion that can run amok, run around, however Shyvana is open, makes a counter pick. If we do see a repeat of that, what SK will need to do is get themselves into a situation where they can challenge like a blue buff, read Super Hot Crew, and then win the engage, win the fights, be more decisive in their gameplay. And I think Super Hot Crew are having to make decisions now, like who do we want to take because there's so many powerful champions available.
Who else do they have? They lock that in. They just sat on Elise knowing they wanted the Shiv. That's going to be big lane there, especially big fight, because SHC was the one going in that last game over and over and over. The walk-up team, well, no, they did get the Orianna this time, because with the Mundo again, they were going to have the walk-up initiation team that have to teleport in, but now they give themselves a little versatility.
So I sort of expected the Orianna steal. I thought it may have been a little earlier.
It was almost first, but
because
they just laid third.
You want to take that away from Moops. This now removes one of the very powerful things. Basically, the entire comp that Super Hot Crew have used to win their games. Sona's banned, Vi's gone, Orianna's stolen. You know, Ezreal's even taken away this time round. Now, Ezreal is one of the champions that Candy Panda has been playing. It's another thing that, you know, being able to talk to the pros, Peck is saying that SK are using it a lot in scrims. But Ezreal's going to have a little bit of a tough time if they go head-to-head in lane with Caitlyn, assuming Hadal plays aggressively and gets in your face.
A lot of kill potential coming from the support. We are going to see the Annie coming in. Caitlyn actually being picked up. Really Forgiven is only the one to try his hand at that this weekend, and he did damn well. So we'll see if Hadal can continue that streak on Caitlyn. Eve has been picked up. We saw all these champions get through Select, and we figured they'd be in the game. Yeah. Now,
These
are some powerful comps.
I really like the composition here from SK Gaming, and there's the Morgana we talked about.
Very cool.
Okay, so let's talk SK first very quickly. I like the composition. I feel there's a lot of ball delivery systems there. You can use Eve, you can use Dr. Mundo. Combo that with the Tibbers. In either way, pull them together, then stun them, or stun them, then pull them together. And allow Ezreal, Eve, and Mundo to clean up. I really like that tool. However, once Moops gets to the point that he's got his Zhonya's Hourglass built up, if you combo the Soul Shackles, Zhonya's up the big burst from SK, and hopefully get some stuns, you're going to need Elise and Shyvana to clean up house. And in theory, Caitlyn should never be in range because she's got immense range. So the theory is she can sit on the outskirts and shoot. But it's a very different approach here. SK going with a very much all-in composition.
A lot of them having some quite immense AoE within their compositions. We'll have to see what they have for each other. As we get into the laning phase, we saw the SHC was a bit more aggressive in the early part of last game, something we'll have to keep our eye on. Or is it going to be that point where they don't want to give up a 2-game lead and we go back to game 1, just fan out and play it safe?
I think SK will want to play this one safe. I feel like when you are 0-2 down in a best-of-5 series, the last thing you want to do is go for an invader level 1 and get in trouble, especially against a Dark Binding and a Death Sentence. I think the level 1 potential from Super Hot Crew is a little scarier, you know, to run the risk of that hard CC. What I'm very interested about in this matchup is how Moops is going to deal with Jez's Orianna, because the auto attacks from Orianna and the early level damage does favor Orianna against the Morgana. So these early levels are going to be very important for Moops, and arguably for Jez's confidence.
We'll have to see. He was given a lot of trouble last game. We are now into game 3 and on to the Rift. Super Hot Crew looking to take the spot away from SK that they had in the last split.
2-0 up in a best-of-5. There are 3 match points now that Super Hot Crew have to play with, basically. And it does look like SK are starting to do this level 1 fan, splitting up, covering the entries, and we'll have to see how they respond. Nif is going to be the first one to spot Super Hot Crew as they potentially move in to get some wards down.
Migza looks like he wants more kills. Being the first blood support last game on Sona, he does take Ignite again on Thresh, and he also takes a red pot.
that definitely tells you he wants to have some all-in potential.
Yeah.
That's flat out. Dude, we want to brawl, and I want to get down with that bonus attack damage, swinging around and cause problems. In response, Nif has actually picked himself up a door and shield.
Yeah.
So again, very different approaches by both of these supports in comparison to each other and from the previous games.
We'll have to see how this one plays out. It's either one of those things where they still feel each other out or say, we now have a strict advantage and we'll do something. I'm going to go with the 4. Maybe the latter will happen, though. It'll be quite exciting. Everybody's setting up towards this top side. Looks like we will get the lane matchups evenly this time. We're going to see if SHC, we have Caitlyn Thrash versus that Annie and Ezreal in the bottom lane.
So we did see the head-to-head matchups in game 1. Svenskeren was also running jungle Evelyn, and that actually allowed them to get control of the early game.
That was kind of the play where Impaler game is.
Exactly, and I think that Candy Panda got like 2-0-1 up during the laning phase of that 16 to 17 minute laning phase, but it didn't convert to presence in the mid game. And I would expect the same this time around. I would expect Svenskeren to come down. Every time Moops moves forward and gestures this way, have to keep an eye on that red pot. The moment it gets drank, that's probably when the fight's going to come out. Very good flay.
He gets hit up right there. They get the stun out of Annie, which is going to be nice. They try to get more. Oh, my word. Will the lane be pushed as well? They're going to throw him into the turret. Now, the red pop has been popped.
Now, the thing is, there's a time limit on this. I think Mixer maybe jumped the gun a tad early. If he'd waited to get a death sentence, flay into death sentence, that could have actually been enough CC to make it work. But he decided he wanted to get dominance at level 1. It seems to be working. Small CS lead for Hadel, and we'll have to see how it continues before that temporary power buff wears off.
It's interesting they went this way because both of these guys have been going gold generation items, and they're like, boop, nope, third game, not going to do any of it, even before seeing each other.
Definitely showing that. I think they want to stamp authority. That's the key here.
Right.
Is that they really want to, grab the bull by the horns and take charge of the matchup. And at the moment, if Candy Panda and Nif can be patient, wait out the Elixir of Fortitude, then they can start to try get the Annie stun into early Ezreal burst. Impaler's the first one to make a move towards the lane, though.
Migza playing super aggro right now. It's going to be Elise on the outside. Is Impaler going to be close enough? They do have that shield on. Will he have enough for another Annie stun? No. And the lane aggression actually goes against them.
Yeah, very well played by Nif. He managed to stun up both Mixer and Hadel. Then with just Candy Panda sitting on the sideline auto-attacking, it was enough to scare them away. And that basically is going to kill the time frame of that Elixir of Fortitude. Jesus eats a point-blank Dark Binding. Unfortunately, Moops can't follow it up, though.
He answers back with a little bit of damage. He did go 1, 2, 3, so you can shield up and walk through that tormented soil if you want to auto attack. Like you said, it should go in favor of Jessis, but Moop playing it very well as Svenskeren, finding himself a little bit of a party member here. Impaler comes down.
So cheeky, even manages to steal the golems away. The thing is, this is still a fairly low health Nif. And Impaler is dancing around the jungle, but it doesn't look like they're going to tower dive. That previous attempt was thwarted thanks to that very good double stun by Nef.
19-6th Impaler, just hanging out. Come get your wraiths, he's saying. But nope, they're going to be his. So he's trying to already deny some resources, keep himself going, knowing that Svenskeren is back right now doing what he can.
This is great play because of the psychological effect it's going to have on SK Gaming. In the previous game, Super Hot Crew didn't necessarily counter jungle. We'll get to that in a second as Svenskeren's rooted.
He's going to take big damage here. 4-3 right now, and the second set of abilities coming out in Spider Form from Impaler. That blue buff is not going to go to much use.
And that's sort of the point. In the previous game, Super Hot Crew challenged for blue buff. Challenge, 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 control blue buff. This time around, we see Impaler controlling the jungle.
Oh,
they hooked Nif!
Pie in the face to Nif as Candy Panda ducks. Good they get the kill on this one. Great focus by Hadel. It was Nif that was locked down, but he wants to damage the ADC.
Now, both of the AD carries below around 200 HP. The thing is,
looks scary.
Mixer's low on HP. He cannot afford to get stunned again. The only thing that's keeping SK in this bottom lane right now is the reactionary stuns by Nif.
Yeah.
But it's Super Hot Crew setting the tempo. If they continue doing this, it's just a matter of time before they're able to land the hook that secures first blood.
32-26 in the CS down there. Much poking and CSing happening between these guys, but they are keeping that farm up, and Hadel now doing a better job. We said he was down, 10 CS by this point. He's going to be the one that's up. Leaving lane, they'll match up, and we'll see what happens when he comes back.
Well, we're now looking at the top lane right now. Freddy and Mima, once again, the tanky bruisers. These are sort of the two priority top laners right now, really. Dr. Mundo and Shyvana, a lot of people fight over them. And, in game one, it was very slow till 20-odd minutes, and then all of a sudden, Mima just went beast mode and started tearing apart SK Gaming. Having an Ezreal this time around will be a little safer because Ezreal can Arcane Shift away and try to play the distance game maybe a little more than Sivir, because you're not going to outrun a burnout running Shyvana.
Absolutely not. Still running the flash as well, keeping yourself safe. No ghost on that. We'll see Elise. Impaler's spent quite a bit of time up here, and this is going to be a level 6 Mundo, so that just goes to the back. I don't think there were too many other lanes for him to push. You already have more moves in the mid lane, so they're just kind of biding their time until they can find something. This is the, we don't want to go too much out of our realm of thumb.
And as you say that, Impaler's hanging around this top lane. Now, Freddy does have his ultimate. He's been caught by the web.
There it is. He throws down the ultimate, forced the flash as well. They also throw down the ulties. They had to expect him to get out, but it was a great try.
Very good reactionary flash. That was the instant that Cocoon wore off. He was able to get away. Teleport was also expended by Freddy to get to that top lane, so that is on cooldown. And we did see Svenskeren. Sven was milling around the bottom lane. He was thinking about going in, couldn't actually get in. I want to highlight the first purchases. Ancient coin secured for Nif as he's caught.
Oh, caught once more. Nif has always been on the outside of these fights. They don't have enough damage to turn back onto Haydale. A good flash from Nif leaves Candy Panda in the fight alone, but he is able to shift out as well. Just great back and forth in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Haydale and Mix are definitely toying. Dark Binding does land. Moops may want to go Soul Shackles. He's gone in.
He says draw, and the 1-for-1. He flashes over the wall. Is it going to be enough, though? Nobody attacked red either, so he's safe.
Yeah, I'm not sure a Chalice, an Amptone, and a Doran's Ring was going to 100-0 Morgana, so maybe a little ambitious coming out of Moops. But again, the fear is there. The psychological pressure that it adds, you cannot be discounted. They've caught Nif once again.
He looks at Candy Panda and throws the hook over his shoulder to Nif. Is the finisher there? Oh, the Caliber net to safety out of turret range.
Unbelievable that Nif got away once again. I don't know if he's trying to play a game of catch the hook. He's pretending to be a fish, but that must be the 4th or 5th time that he's been hooked in the bottom lane. And props to Mixer, because he's really exerting his presence. And now Freddy's in trouble.
He does have that ult again, so he may be able to pop out of this one. The command shockwave comes down, the shield giving him a little bit of resistances, and he does stay alive. Impaler's gonna fall. First blood going to Svenskeren as it happened in game 1, and it looks like they're gonna continue to try on here. The slow onto Moops, the briefcase onto Moops, and the kill to follow up in the hands of Freddy, 1-2-2.
Yeah, Freddy says, we have studied the last game. Here's the homework and the review. Throwing the paperwork down and sticking onto the backside of Moops. 2-1 in that exchange. Overall pretty good for SK Gaming, but they need to make sure they respond well, because they're replying to Super Hot Crew's plays. And this was their fault in game 1. They had no decisive moments of their own. At the top lane, there's a fight.
Trying to go over the dragon form. Shyvana very low. He's going under the turret for this one. Burning Agony and causing just that.
Just as I say, you need to make a decisive play. SK Gaming jump in there.
Yes, Trevor.
And Freddy is able to 1v1 Mima. Now, that didn't happen the last time we've seen this matchup.
Right.
It was a farm fest, and I think if Freddy can use this 2-0-1 advantage to actually get control of Mima's Shyvana, that is a very key factor in this matchup.
Blue buff going over to Moops, the mid lane. We only saw that one engagement between Jez's and Moops just at red buff. There hasn't been too much tit for tat between them. Dragon now about to be picked up, and this just shows SHC working off their momentum, but they're down in gold right now, so they're making these moves so they can keep that running.
Yeah, this is a very good call from Super Hot Crew, realizing that they got the numbers advantage. So just taking advantage of the missing opponents, and they're going to secure the Dragon. That was uncontested. I think SK knew it was happening, but they were nowhere near close enough to challenge. Mixer's flashed the hook!
Oh, he does get it on his Svenskeren. They're going to be able to get a little bit of gold off of this one. Yes, they do get a nice amount of assists there as well.
Somebody give Mixer a medal, because his Thresh has been brilliant this game. He still does not have GP10. So that Dragon and that assist has to be invested into some form of, gold gaining item, because he's just a utility bot right now. He is making a count, though. So the last thing I want to make a sign is I'm calling him out, because he's doing phenomenal in this game.
Definitely helped to get the lanes rolling everywhere here. He has been just all over the map, at least the bottom half of it, omnipresent. The gold still very close as it was in game 1, and that meant the game went longer. It played on the mentality of the teams, and they weren't even sure about their engagements.
And I think that could be a problem here. SK have got a composition where they need a Flash Tibbers. They need a Shockwave.
Yeah.
They need Agony's Embrace to hit multiple people. And if you don't hit three or more players, 2 very important ones or 3 in total, minimum, you're not going to have a good day. You know, you're not going to be able to crush these people down. And when you consider the shields, Shyvana, supernaturally tanky. Elise can dodge. You've got Black Shield from Morgana. You shouldn't hit Caitlyn because she's far away. And you've got the Lantern from Thresh. There's a lot of additional HP to burn through.
Looks like there is a bit of a back off here coming in from Migza. They know the wave is against them, so for once in the game, they are not on their back foot, but taking the minions in before. You can see him actually moving to the left side and almost wanting to engage. Heading towards the top side. Svenskeren looks to maybe create something on this side of the map.
We'll see who responds first. Because Impaler has made it down to the bottom lane.
Deja vu.
I'm not expecting Candy Panda and Nif to dive, but look for the hook. There's no flash available. Mixer is going to throw the Destiny House. That was optimistic at best. And Candy Pan is easily able to get away. Agony's Embrace is up. Mima's the target, and they're going in.
He's got the ultimate, but it's going to be a long chase. Can he get the Flame Breath out and the double bite onto him? Oh, Svenskeren is forced to flash away. Well coordinated there to get out alive.
Good attempt. Almost got it. The Cocoon misses.
Oh, Nif. Nif holds the position in the bush. A nice triple true shot barrage goes through. A little less damage along the way, and it looks like they're going to try to get some more auto attacks in as they say, 3v2, we have the upper hand.
Yeah, and Impaler instantly smiting away Tibbers there. Not available. Look for some CC.
Oh,
Here
man.
comes Jesus from the side. Shockwave is up.
Will they be able to go in? He flashed. Oh, he wanted Andy to go in, but he flashes himself. Gets the ball move. The double kill, and Jez is doing some work for himself from mid to bottom. Good return kill onto Ezreal.
Yeah, Minions doing a lot of damage there in addition to Mixer's Ignite stealing that last tick of damage. And a very good roam from Jesus, but now he may be in trouble. Anticipating the move from Moops and actually very cheekily avoiding that, just ducking down to the right in that extended ramp in the river.
Looks like Moob's not too happy that 2 kills were picked up by Jez's, so he tries to do something on the way back in. Keeping himself safe on both sides. I mean, it looks like he's trying to just farm his lane, which I think they need a little bit more pressure now that we see Jez's on the move.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. You've got a very good roaming, ganking mid laner in both Orianna and Morgana. And Jesus has pulled off the first successful roaming gank as far as the mid laners are concerned. And they've actually been very passive between themselves.
Yep.
You know, yesterday we seen Kautard go very aggressive on his Kha'Zix and jumping in time again against MOM and Charu. And this time around, it's been a lot more passive. It's been a farm fest until the mid game, which is where the mid laners have been decisive. And Orianna seems to have been the key. Definitely a key in games 1 and 2. Maybe it's SK's key in game 3.
6-3 in kills here as we reach up on to 14 minutes. Haydale returning to the bottom lane. Now that the lanes also have matched up, we didn't have that last game, a much faster game. When we see this, it goes longer. Obviously, the matchups of AD and support going to last longer from the sustain of one side. They just keep it going. These fights have always been in favor in the beginning of Migza and Haydale, but they're able to turn it around now, and this might happen once again.
Yeah, there's the Lantern gang, but there's 3v3.
Megs taking big damage. Why focus Migza right off the bat? It's because they want the kill. They know they can get it, and if there's more to be had, they'll focus it.
Very good damage. I think, in general, the damage of Eve plus Ezreal plus Annie, that's 3 damage threats. Coming up against what would have been 2 at best. You know, Thresh is more utility than damage. It allowed SK to secure themselves the 7th kill of the game. And look at this. SK Gaming maybe trying to return the favor. They want to set up for a challenge, but Sven's got no support. This is 2v3 at best right now. Jesus is in trouble.
Oh, the Black Shield goes down. That is going to be a heck of a lot of damage. We are going to see Jesus fall here. It was almost not picked up there. The shield almost hit. Moves may be able to make it out alive. The red buff slightly slowing his pursuer.
I don't understand why you try to cleanse the stun afterwards as opposed to cleansing the root and trying to run away from the stun. I'm not sure if that was the best timing on that one. Nevertheless, Jesus gets shut down. Shockwave wasn't used. 2-1-2 and blue buff actually secured by Super Hot Crew. SK, not exactly on the same page. Very good attempt by Candy Panda.
Looking to take those blues away as they lost enough of their own throughout the first game. A good push here by Haydale. Still waiting for these turrets to be dropped. We're 15 minutes into the game. That armor has been gone for some time now. And we're going to see Svenskeren trying to make a move towards the bottom. A very careful play coming in right now. They aren't even getting close to the turret here, Haydale and Mixer.
No towers falling either. You know, you've highlighted and you mentioned it perfectly. When you have the straight-up matchups, the laning phase does tend to get drawn out because you don't have the fast tower-pushing power of a 2v1 lane. So at this point in time, SK Gaming are in the lead. And they were in the lead in the laning phase in game 1 as well. They seem to do a little bit better in these prolonged stages. But they need to transition from here to the mid-game in a powerful position. And Sven Skjern is roaming around. Now, they do see that was a flash Tibbers, countered by a flash. So both flashes of supports burned. It wasn't flash Tibbers, just normal Tibbers.
Yep, normal Tibbers coming out. She will have the flash up soon, but we'll be waiting for Tibbers. So we're going to have to wait for the Combine. The Wombo combo there. With that happening, they say we may have enough to do this Dragon, but it's still going to be a heck of a fight.
Got to be a bit careful. Flays come down. Mix is in trouble.
There's the box going down. Jezz is able to find it from the backside. Looks like Sven Skjern is going to say, we did enough here. We'll wait for the Dragon engage if you guys want it again.
That was a good amount of burst. Shockwave is still available, and this is very brave from Super Hot Crew. They can't get into this fight right now. You see, it's going to be a 4v3. Dragon's going low.
You got to consider the Dragon was used, the teleport was canceled in that top. Oh, threading the needle out of that one, and the Dragon picked up by Impaler.
Nobody caught that at all, and that just went straight between two members of SK. The whole time that fight was going on, you can see Freddy's teleport is on cooldown, and I think Mima interrupted it with his Dragon's Descent, just knocked him up and prevented it happening. Now Super Hot Crew, they got Dragon, now they're gonna get Tower, and again, SK Gaming failing to capitalize in a potentially advantageous situation.
Very big play by Mimer in the top lane there, telling his team to go back in and how it happened. One turret now falling there. That was the mid turret. SHC did this in the first game, and it took him quite a long time to get the rest. It's going to be a one-on-one. Impaler may not have wanted as much of this fight as he found until Mimer gets there. They're going to be able to bring this one in and pick up the kill. A rampage for Freddy122.
Very good position to be in, and Freddy needs to now carry some weight on his back in this matchup. He needs to get begin roaming and make use of those teleport ganks to actually impact the game right now. I also feel like Jezz is being very hesitant on his shockwaves. The last two times he's been involved in fights, he could have used a shockwave where he got 1v1 by Morgana and at the Dragon Pit. But he hasn't been in a position where it's been effective enough for him to pull the trigger. So we need to keep an eye on how he makes that work from going forward. And also the fact that Mixer, still no GP10. Death Sentence goes out, and Candy Panda just carries on walking.
He used all the good ones already.
Let's hope not, for their sake.
Yeah.
Because if he's used all his death sentences in the laning phase, then that may be sentencing Super Hot Crew to death in the mid to late game.
I see what you did there. Coming up on to 20 minutes. The kills not as fast being racked up as last game here. The gold, even like the first game, these guys just can't decide which one they want. It's going to be hard, it's going to be slow, we're going to go fast. Another death sentence just missing onto that one. And we do see focus here in the bottom lane. There are going to be 3 members from both teams.
Impaler and Sven Skjern are ticking to the same beat because they're in the lane once again. Same's been happening through many times in this game. They seem to be interpreting the flow of the game fairly well. The question is who's going to win. This time around, Sven's a little further back. Mixer wants to go in. Agony's Embrace has been used.
Oh, Migza gets hit up quite hard. That is going to be a true shot barrage taking him down. Impaler still taking steps forward. May have solidified his own death. A big hit coming up onto Impaler there. That was the stun. And Moops is going to be coming around the side. Oh, he gets Tibbers with the Dark Binding. And it was actually going to be Jezz's there. So I don't know how much of that they wanted.
Oh, my heart skipped a beat with the Tibbers death animation. That was the most dramatic way to go, but it shielded SK Gaming, prevented anyone getting caught out, and that, of course, means that SK, once again, with a successful gank in the bottom lane. They have definitely got the number of Super Hot Crew when it comes to the ganking and the 3v3s, and it's just because of the number of damage threats. Sorcerer Shoes Annie is using her base numbers. Evelyn with a Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, as well as a Haunting Guys and Sorcerer Shoes. They are nomming through the HP bars of Super Hot Crew.
Still building Glass Cannon, as they do, trying to get that damage out before any armor. But they don't seem to play the aggression all the time that way. It's like they don't want the fights all the time. We'll see where the rotation here from Jezz's is. He is with Sven Skjern just under the Wraith camp. They got the ping down, so I think they're going to know they're on the move here.
Blue buff is up. SK Gaming are now making a play for it. They have vision down the bottom of the river. And that's the first ward they've got in the jungle, and I think they're pretty confident about picking this one up. Nobody from SHC has responded.
I bet they feel good about that.
That is a confidence steal. That is definitely a confidence steal for them. But they need to convert it now into more plays. Once again, Sven Skjern smited that one. Don't run the risk of it being nicked away by the dude you're trying to steal it from.
still in the laning phase, even with mid turret being down. There hasn't been too much aggression. A very nice black shield, but wow, they are sticking on him with the flash, and it's going to be Impaler putting himself a little too deep. A great flash in from Jez's to pick up the kill after keeping himself safe.
That was a confidence flash. He really wanted to get in there and just say, look, I can play Orianna as well. 4-1-2, working out much better for him than Zed in game 1. Right now we see another fight in the top lane as Mime and Freddy go toe-to-toe.
It seems like he didn't totally want that. Tries to bring him back into the minions a little bit and realizes they're trading damage, and it's not equal for Mimer there.
Big chunk onto Candy Pan. It looks like the tower is going to fall. Ooh, that's very big indeed. But now Nip, that's a flash.
Whoa, the teleport coming in as well. Oh, the True Shot Barrage going across, but the Thresh Express saving Haydale.
Mixer is doing such great work on Thresh, albeit he's 1-4-1, but his hooks have been on point for the most part in the early phases, and that was a great lantern. Realizing that the threat, he was running to the river and put the lantern down. Now he's sticking around in that bush, does finally decide to back away as SK secure their first tower of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got a game on.
Finally, those turrets do fall across the map, the top for the bottom. A lot of pings are going out, and it looks like they want to set up this engagement. It's going to be 40 seconds on the Dragon. Can they pull
SK don't have the time.
Pull them into this?
SK do not have the timer on this at all, so they are going to have to back away, and unfortunately, this means they're backing away as it's about to respawn. Impaler's going to at least scare them. This should signal to SK that it's soon, but we were just too early. And unfortunately, it means they're going to be way out of position if Super Hot Crew can congregate the numbers. Mimer's even heading down to the bottom lane for this potential Dragon fight.
That's big for them. I'm sure they wanted that heavily with the teleport being down, the top wave now far past the river. That's going to be Mundo's job, but they are still going to leave it. The minion wave is big enough, and they want to go back to contest.
Did Svenskeren just walk over that pink ward? He's not killing it out of threat of a dark binding, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing it very, very safely, but Super Hot Crew, they have started off the Dragon. Candy Pan is going to arrive here, but they're too late. Dragon is down. Dragon is embraced. They've gone in.
Svenskeren, a quick punch to the jaw there on Impaler, and he looks to get into this one. Can it be the shift over the wall? He just goes to the left, and they save face on that one. The True Shot Barrage passing through, giving a little bit of vision, and it does look like they want to chase.
Oh, that's a flash for Freddy.
It's going to... Oh, very nice job. They are able to take him out at the flash on the wall. Looks like it's going to be Migza throwing himself in. The box goes down and the reinitiation. Dragon's Descent goes in, but Mimer is forced to turn tail and walk out of this one literally.
2 for 1. Svenskeren just getting a little bit surprised by Mimer diving back in there. A good fight for SK after losing the Dragon. Now, if they want to at least balance out the global gold, they have to take a tower here and even up the pressure, which does look like what they're doing. Right now, Freddy, he picked up that Warmog's armor on his last back. That is a super beefy, super HP regen Mundo, and I think it's been great shockwave.
That's 100-0. Well, it was 100, but it could have been.
Well, we talked about how he's got to pull the trigger a little bit quicker, and that's exactly what you got to do. Grab yourself another kill. 5-1-3, they get a tower, and now SK's making plays. You've seen they challenged after losing the They picked the fight. They challenged for the mid tower. They need to keep doing that to maintain this lead and hopefully push it through to take out that Nexus.
This composition now with Orianna instead of Gragas is allowing them to get everything they wanted. Every Gragas ult, nobody could follow up on. Nobody wanted to follow up on. It just wasn't right.
Yeah, very little impact with Gragas in the previous matchup. And this time around, Jez is definitely showing that those shockwaves hurt. In terms of itemization, we finally see that GP10 has been secured for Mixer's Thresh. So he has got that ancient coin. It has currently earned 16 gold in comparison to the 550 gold that Nif has accumulated over the course of the game. So got a lot to make up for. Nif pulling his best James Bond impression, 007 right now, and doing very, very well with that Annie. His stuns have also been very good, reactionary as well as offensively.
So great to watch these guys in the top lane. They're like, poke, run around, poke, run around, poke. They know they're not going to take each other out in the end of it. It's going to have to be the big fight. Yeah,
the temperature is heating up in the top lane for Super Hot Crew. That's 5 members of SK potentially catching them out. Agony's not used there by Sven. I thought he was going to go for the slope, but nobody else from SK Gaming was able to really collapse on them quickly enough. And now the focus seems to be top tower or red buff, thanks to all of the vision. And it does turn out to be red buff here, as Candy Pan is pointing out.
Kiting this fight for about 20 more seconds would be super optimal. That means Tibbers is up. That means Flash is up. And you could see as they were walking around there, Jezz was putting the ball on Annie, putting the ball on Annie. And they're looking for that big engage.
They definitely have the power to do so, that's for sure. Got themselves a nice 4,000 gold lead. With all the vision they've granted themselves around the red buff area, gonna try to work with the minions in the top wave to push the tower, while Svenskeren and Nif, with the help of Jezz, secure themselves another blue buff. It's getting a little bit sweeter here for SK. They're in control of the game, and they just need to find ways to continue pushing Super Hot Crew back. Continue
There was a lull.
Taking objectives.
Once the turrets fell, I was surprised that SK was able to push back on the turrets because that's kind of where they lacked last game. But with Jessis being able to take out people on that Orianna, they found mid, they found top. And I think this is absolutely going to help more, that Freddy can now take out Mimer pretty much in the full one-on-one engage, maybe. And he can keep split pushing that lane. With his teleport, he's back into the fight.
Yeah, it's going to be way more difficult now to take Freddy out. He's got that Warmogs, which I don't believe he built in game one, if my memory serves correctly. And it's just going to allow him to get through everybody. The burst of the Morgana is not going to be as big of a threat to Freddy. And because he's been really bullying Mimer around, he's now given himself a 20 CS lead. And Mimer's not at risk of killing him. He still doesn't have that Blade of the Ruined King yet. Once that's built up, that'll help shred through that high HP target, but he's still a long way away from completing his big items.
We'll have to see. Actually, right now he sits on 8,700 gold to 10,000 gold in the pocket of Freddy. So the 601 is definitely applying to the bank account on this. And you can see the 1,000 gold now being spent out by Mimer. He actually finishes the Sunfire Cape, knowing that the split push right now is probably going to be a little more formidable because he can't teleport into the fight.
Yeah, and it's an interesting pickup because what that also tells you is if a fight were to break out, even though Mimer does have that Spirit Visage, there's so much more magic damage to deal with. Annie, Orianna, Eve, and Dr. Mundo. So he needs to be able to stick to Candy Panda and disrupt the team fight while the rest of Super Hot Crew can close that one out for them. SK now slowing down. True Shot Barrage goes down. They've stunned Adel.
That's a bit of damage right there going out. Candy Panda's going to quickly finish, and Haydale had a bit of a second to react, but it wasn't enough.
I don't think he had much time to react at all. Instantly just getting dropped. The thing is now SK have to stick around and take the tower. Getting the kill is fantastic. You increase your gold, you buy more items, but it's the towers that count. It's the objectives that matter. And as it stands, this is going to be a 4-on-2. They may even want to dive. Flash Tibbers is available if anyone wants to go in. You can see the ball being used for zoning potential in the tower. A couple more hits. It should drop. The hook's caught Candy.
Candy gets that cleanse out, and he actually gets out of the fight. Tibbers just kind of hanging out, saying, where are you going to go? And it is going to be able to take down Paler. Very nice job by Candy Panda in the top lane. They're going to go back at it.
Freddy's picking a fight here with Mimer. Ultimate is down. No Dragon's Descent yet. Mimer's holding on to it.
Looks like they will keep going. He has a bit of a minion wave here. He's going to try to slow him. This is all in favor of Freddy right now. The ultimate's on, but the chase is only going to go on forever.
Give you guys a fun mini game to play. Next time you see Freddy using his ultimate, count the HP that he's gaining back. Plus 120, plus 75, plus 50, plus 120, plus massive amounts of HP gain. And it's going to take a lot of focused fire to actually burn through that while it's up. Haydel now with that static shiv, Infinity Edge, and the makings of a Last Whisper completed. He's farming up the jungle while SK get themselves a taste of Dragon. Once again, just extending that gold lead, as they still didn't take that inner turret. Keep that in mind.
Right.
They got those kills. It was a one fight, but they didn't get the tower. It's definitely something that SK needs to try work on, because they're just leaving Freddy to split push. They're happy with a 4-1 game right now.
And I actually thought they were going to lose that bottom tower. A good kill on Caitlyn, who has who has purchased the static shiv, trying to give the team more siege, stop potential, and lane potential to push. And they weren't able to grab the turret because Impaler put himself out there to save the global gold.
So I question right now SK's decision to play the split push game. You've got a 6-0-1 Mundo that has been terrifying for a while.
Right.
Fair enough, there is a lot of wave clear from SHC, but I'm wondering to myself what the decision-making is as to why they're not grouping as a 5-man and shoving objectives. We're at 30 minutes on the clock. They could start warding for Barons, or in this case, finding Impaler.
Impaler does get caught out just above Wraiths in between that blue buff on the bottom side. Is he going to be able to get out? Another Thresh Express to safety, and they pull in Nif, who finds himself in a real bad spot. Haydale getting picked up by Candy Panda on the side, and they turn this one around beautifully, being set up for the engagement.
Totally worth it. Shockwave is still available, and now SK Gaming take down the tower on the bottom lane. You see Freddy, he burned his teleport to get into the engagement right now as well. So he's in and around this area, but they have to stack up and press this numbers advantage. It's a 4 versus 3, and they're going to decide to back off and push towards the mid-inner turret. I think this is the right call. Get complete control of the map, and then push onto the inhibitor turrets.
This is just a completely different game from SK. Can't be compared to game 1. They're warding way better. They are 110% sure about their engagements. They are all over any engagement and in the right spot at the right time. Backing off on this, you can see they have really nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and you can see that in the form of distortion boots from Nif. You can see this is just Impaler being caught out. And frankly, the vision from SK allowed them to catch him. There was no wait from Nif. He dove right in there, and even though he did get bursted down following that engagement, it was a very good decisive win. And with the distortion boots, the flash tibbers is going to come up more frequently, and I think that's arguably the best engage that SK has right now. Land 2 or 3, hit a guaranteed Shockwave and Agony's Embrace, and then clean up.
Now that they're being pushed back, what are we looking for from SHC? Now they're losing their momentum, and it kind of seems like they don't know where to go with it. They've been doing the same thing. Back to the top lane, we see those two going at it. Now to the mid lane, they're just being pushed back.
I feel like Super Hot Crew has to find a pick, and they have to find a pick on their terms, right? Mima cannot deal with Freddy's split push.
No.
So in a 1v1 and a 4v4 situation, you're at a disadvantage. You know, the 4v4 of the bottom 4 SK members versus the bottom 4 Super Hot Crew members will do more damage to you, will kill you quicker, will drop you quicker. We even see a Black Cleaver being picked up by Candy Panda on Ezreal.
It's for himself.
That is an interesting pickup. That's one that we don't see very often on that champion. And I think Super Hot Crew have to get a good Dark Binding and kill somebody. As right now, Freddy wants you 2 taking on 2.
They keep trying to go after him with 2, but he is just going to be able to turn it around once again. How much focus can they put here?
Wow.
Will there be a split push? No, they're drawing all of SK up here, so this is the engage. They try to throw down the ultimates, the Deathfire Grasp as well, and Svenskeren is going hard in and out of turret range. Freddy taking up the turret for his team, eats that one. Svenskeren with a very nice block on the ace in the hole, and they are able to go from mid to top in an extended kite fight to come out on top.
Absolutely fantastic. Freddy is so strong right now. He was tanking up 2 members of Super Hot Crew the entire time. That allowed the rest of SK to get into a great position to get the Shockwave to pick up the kill and then kill the tower. Now they are going to start off on Baron. Candy Panda is going to be dealing a massive amount of damage on the background. And Moops on Morgana is basically a null point right now. The time that it takes for Soul Shackles to be relevant, your entire team's going to be dead. It takes too long to channel through. I feel like SK are far enough ahead now with the gold and with the Baron that Morgana is no longer relevant.
No. It kind of comes down to that. It's the same thing that Peke said with the Zed. It's like, you're not going to kill somebody after a point if you're not with the game. So we'll see. Just not the damage there. Morgana could be, but she's just been far behind. Got to get that Rabadon's in there right now. And if you look at it... Oh, go ahead.
The thing that stands out is that if Morgana gets into a fight, throws down Soul Shackles, Mondo's going to run away. Eve's going to run away.
Right, it's just at that point.
Ezreal's going to Arcane Shift away.
Yeah.
And there's not enough damage from an initial burst of that. Plus what? There's no other burst. Like, you don't have a Shockwave to follow it up. You don't have a bursty top laner. The rest of it's standard over time damage.
DPS.
Damage per second. And that's where SHC are just falling behind because they can't kill him quick enough.
And at this point, it has to be SK ending the game definitively. 6-0-3, 7-1-6, 6-1-6. There should be no stalling here. And if it is, it's a damn good job by SHC.
Agreed. And this was how SK Gaming lost game number 1. They had an advantage position. Let's be frank, it was not 13 kills, 4 towers, and 10,000 gold.
It was even gold.
It was even gold then, and that's why they played passive. They cannot afford to do the same right now. it does look like they're going to be pushing the bottom lane. They've caught Nif.
Oh, they locked down Nif. That's huge. Tibbers' flash is down on the initiation, but Freddy is still alive. And is that enough for the team? You can see SHC is running back into their base after getting one of those picks. It was on their terms, but it doesn't seem like they can keep going.
That was a little bit of a meh wave. Admittedly, it farmed fantastically well, but it didn't hit a single member of Super Hot Crew. So because the champions weren't hit, it meant that SK were able to, had to back away. They weren't able to stick to anybody. And just in terms of numbers, as that fight was going on, we took a look at Mundo's HP per 5. It's 346 base before his ultimate. 346 HP per 5 seconds before his ultimate.
It's pretty good.
There's the understatement of the century right now. But if you get caught by a death sentence and can't wreak havoc on SHC's backline,
absolutely.
It doesn't matter how much hit points you're gaining.
Let's see what kind of magic resistance is actually coming out on anybody else, which is none. Abyssal Scepter, Deathfire Grass, Rabadons, Leandries, another Athenes, a Void Staff, and the magic resistance is Negatron Cloaks coming out on SK, not SHC. They only have one member really formulating that. They do have that Aegis kind of coming out Rocket now, but it's not enough.
No, it's not. And it's partially the reason that SK are winning these engagements so well. You see that when Jez does hint a champion, it melts their HP bar because you've got armor being built up for Mixer. The only MR he's got is from his Mercury trades, and that's not a whole lot. Haydel has just gone full glass cannon. There's no defensive items at all. And to be fair, Candy Panda doesn't have any either, but he's 616 with a 603 Mundo in front of him. You know, Shyvana is not beefy enough to mitigate that sort of defensive item threat. And right now, SK, they send their focus to the bottom lane. They've got a couple of hits down. They have got Svenskeren, but that's not ideal.
Looks like Freddy is going to put himself out as a human shield here. The damn riot shield for the entire team, but can he take on 5? He is still getting that HP back. Goes in very nicely, coming up huge from Jez's. Will they be able to go? They say forget the turret. Let's get the health bars. A nice Sonya's there, but it's only going to mean they have to retreat even more. A beautiful sniped out Q. Double kill coming in, and SK looks to thwart this, and they are actually going to have to go back on this. The timers could be coming up easy here for Thresh.
The problem is they've got 2 carries they still have to deal with. Impaler's Elise and Haydel's Caitlyn. So you can see them trying to take another tower. Nif, he's tanking this one up. They will take the tower down. Ace in the hole comes out, and that's a lot of damage. And wisely, SK have to back away. 3 for 2, plus 2 inhibitors, 2 towers and an inhibitor. Very good fight for SK Gaming. And take a look at the shockwave that follows here. Freddy is tanking the turret, right? He's tanking the turret this entire time. Mixer goes in, gets a very good flank to maintain the focus, the tower on him, and a massive, massive shockwave. That dropped 60% of Mixer's HP, instantly followed up by the Tibbers, and that just allows Candy Panda to take the tower down and clean up the fight by chasing further on. So a very good play, and more importantly, a play that was on SK's terms, at their decision, they followed up.
You gotta consider, it was something like 1,200 damage from that shockwave. I added up those 3 people's HP. 1,200 damage is hard to do as one person to 3 at one time, so it's huge fight-changing things happening just at the last second. We saw Nif go down last time. SK is not afraid to keep fighting. They know they're ahead. They are not afraid to keep going in. Svenskeren hits up Moops. They know it's a huge factor in the game, but he will be down for this fight. 24-10, coming up onto 40 minutes. SK has had enough of the stalling, and they are going to siege in.
Very good catch onto Moops. Mima even has to use his ultimate just to get out so cleanly. Haydel just gets melted under the damage from Svenskeren and Mixer. You do not want to hook that even. They turn their focus onto Mima. This isn't going to be enough. Tibbers stuns them.
Going in on the Nexus turrets. Possibly one of the more definitive games we have seen. SHC played a great game, and they won those 2, but SK put themselves in the driver's seat here, being down in momentum, and they keep themselves in this series.
That is a stern look from Candy Panda. That is a very, very stern look.
Wins aren't always, or wins can be stressful, I should say.
That is the truth. And there's no more room for error.
Nope.
That's 1-2 as far as the scoreline is concerned for SK Gaming. And like you said, definitive game, decisive game. SK got the lead early, played it patiently, invaded. They got their blue buffs back, made up for the steals in game 2, and pushed down once they had Baron, once they were confident in their ability to siege under the tower. And I think that had Morgana been a different champion, maybe a Ziggs even, clear the waves, deal damage to the backline, maybe that would have worked out better. Moops did well on Morgana, but just didn't scale well enough into the late game.
And it was interesting, you have Teleport Mundo, you think it's going to be the split push game against the Shyvana, but he was just in the fights all the time. They were saying, you know what, we're going to do it. He can actually bounce my teleport, so why don't I just fight with you guys? Maybe that's not the full case, but there wasn't really a split push Mundo there.
Yeah, and not only that, the Teleport Mundo was used in game 1 and now in game 3.
Yes.
And I don't think that teleport was particularly useful.
It wasn't super huge.
Yeah, I don't think it affected team fights. I don't think it affected, real pushes, if I'm being very honest. And the reason I highlight that is, we had the match yesterday with Chari. Chari stopped using teleport on his mid lane. And I'm happy to see that because there was a lot of times where it wasn't useful. And I just feel like maybe if Mundo, look, they won. He stomped. He went, what, 8? Where's his stats?
6-1 and 9.
6-1 and 9.
Not too bad.
If he had maybe picked even an Ignite, he could have been able to do that even better. But, fantastic play by SK, and they keep themselves in by the skin of their teeth.
We'll have to see what happens in the next games. We've got to take a quick break, but when we return, SK looks to build on their momentum and even up this